Why do 90% of hackers swear by counter-surveil? Let's dive in and find out. In the labyrinthine world of cyberspace, every click leaves a trace. But with counter-surveil, you become the unseen. Our podcast takes you deep into the heart of hacking, where firewalls crumble and secrets unravel. From white hat heroes to shadowy code warriors, we cover the spectrum. Join us on Iron Geek, your portal to mastering the art of stealth and strategy. Discover the tools, the tricks, and the tales that define the modern hacker. Tune in and transform from a curious novice into a digital legend. This is Counter Surveil. Unmask the unknown.
Tune into the sound waves, secrets of the dark maze, dark codes in the nighttime, information, gold lines. We're free in the spotlight, chatting through the late night. Smart contracts are lying, auditing, they're defying. Counter surveil in my ear, security we engineer. Learn the truth, don't disappear. Counter surveil, we're right here. Crypto dreams and data streams. Listen close, it's closer than it seems. Fix the flaws, see through the smog. Counter serve will join the blog.
Hello and welcome to the Counter Surveil podcast. I am Havoc here with your co-host Sledge. Today we're going to be going over this week's shit that happened in security. We're going to be a bit lazy and just go through what Zach Whitaker has kindly already curated for his mailing list. And there's quite a bit to go over this week. So why don't we start with the 0 day in Clio software. Now, you guys remember the Move It attack from not much longer ago this year. It was a supply chain attack that essentially leveraged SQL injection on what was kind of like an FTP server combination with a web app that let people share files. A lot of companies use this who need to like do SFTP transfers to other sites. It was a big deal. A lot of companies got hacked by it. You remember that, Sledge?
Vaguely, yeah.
So this is very much like that. It's another piece of software, this one called Clio, and it's another supply chain attack that's under active attack. This one is labeled as CVE 2024-50623. I don't think we're going to get too much higher in that 2024 tree because we already at December 16th.
You never know.
Yeah, December is a big month. So this is yet another round of mass hacking file transfer software. And they do have, a couple of good write-ups that are linked here. So I'll pop one open in another tab here and switch over to that tab. So we got widespread exploitation of Clio.
So it looks like it affects Harmony, VL Trader, and Lexicom.
Yep.
Whatever those are.
Those are three pieces of software put out by the same company, Clio. Clio Lexicom is a desktop-based client, and they seem to focus on trading networks, so that is interesting. Harmony is file transfer for large enterprises, and VL Trader is for mid-enterprise. The exploitation that they're seeing is a result of people who have not applied this patch. It does look like it's been incorporated into some botnets as well. And there are these three affected products that we kind of already covered. If you are using Clio in your environment, it's highly recommended that you update your shit. Otherwise, you're probably going to get hacked. Next, we have
Part for the course.
Absolutely. Patch management, number one overlooked thing. They'll spend money on tools. They'll secure their external and then not patch anything after that. It's very common.
You mean the silver bullet doesn't work?
I thought you said we were secure. Yeah, at that point in time, you were secure. And now you're not because you haven't been patching. But if we were secure, why would we need to patch? Because new shit happens.
It's like there's a reason for that line of at the time of testing XYZ on a report.
U.S. says China hacked calls of a very senior political figure. or very senior political figures if Frank's reading comprehension would kick off. This is Salt Typhoon, not Volt Typhoon, but that Typhoon designation does usually designate a China-backed hacking group. They have infiltrated their way into telcos and top internet firms. As a result, we saw
your screen's not sharing.
Oh no! Let's fix that.
There we go.
As a result of this hack here, there was actually guidance that came out from the government, from I believe it was CISA, telling people. It also came out as an FBI blast to actually start using encrypted messaging apps. But the word that they used was responsibly managed, meaning ones that they have backdoors in. So you should be using responsibly managed encryption. I prefer to use non-responsibly managed encryption, like Signal, where we know, at least we assume it doesn't have a government backdoor in it, but who the hell knows?
Yeah, this is going to bring up that entire debate again of how much control the government should have over communications.
I mean, look, if they're going to let the U.S. have access, then they're also probably going to let another large country, we're not a corporatocracy just yet, like China have access, meaning that if we let the U.S. backdoor it, then China's also going to get the backdoor it. So, I mean, you can't have it both ways. Either it's the keys are going to be held by nobody, or the government's going to have a copy.
And that guy will find it eventually.
Yeah, or just some inept government worker eventually leaks it, which has happened several times. We even saw in the election, people sharing spreadsheets that have passwords to voting machines. Like,
yeah,
these are the people we're going to trust with the freaking keys to encryption. Come on. So, on this article, they go into a little bit of detail as far as what has happened here, and we got a TechCrunch article that I'm going to click into. TechCrunch probably being one of the best out of the three that were listed in sources. So as a result, the senators have announced a new bill to secure telecom companies in wake of Chinese hacks. This was put out by Senator Ron Wyden, and it's that the goal of securing American telephone networks and communications in response to the massive hack of telecom providers allegedly done by China.
Click on what the massive hack was. I wonder if it's the porting attacks that I fell prey to.
So let's go to that. News broke this week that China-backed hackers have compromised the wiretap systems of several U.S. telecom and internet providers, likely in an effort to gather intelligence on Americans. The wiretap systems were mandated under a 30-year-old U.S. federal law. Once again, we give them access, it's going to be abused. These are some of the most sensitive things in telecom and internet providers' networks, typically granting a few select employees nearly unfettered access to information about the customers, including their traffic and browsing history. If we had a VPN we could hawk, now would be the point where we cut to the ad and be like, you should be using bullshit VPN. It will protect you from this nonsense. And most people don't even then block the regular DNS, so the ISP still sees everything.
Brought to you by NordVPN.
Brought to you by Private Internet Access, which was bought by an advertising company, and they certainly don't resell your data. But the technologists who have for years sounded the alarm about the security risks of legally required backdoors, news of the compromise are a told you so moment, as they hoped it would never come. But guess what? It did come. I think it's absolutely inevitable, Matt Blaze, a professor at Georgetown Law, said. Wall Street Journal first reported Friday the Chinese government hacking group dubbed Salt Typhoon broke into three of the largest ISPs, including AT&T, Lumen, formerly CenturyLink, and Verizon, to access systems. Ooh, did NoteGPT just come up all on its own? That was new. Including AT&T, Lumen. That's kind of cool. The goals of the Chinese campaign are not fully known, but the Journal cited NSA sources who said this breach was potentially catastrophic. The hackers in question laid the groundwork for destructive cyber attacks, and in the event of anticipated future conflict, who knows what logic bombs and other things that have been placed in there could be set off, essentially disrupting U.S. communications. The law says your telecom must make your calls wiretappable unless it encrypts them, creating a system that was always a target for bad actors. Oh man, if only they knew how many people who shouldn't have access to like SS7 alone have access to it. It would be
Right.
kind of a shit show, right? Um, so Calio requires that any comms provider, such as a phone company or an ISP, needs to let the government backdoor their shit. Wiretapping is big business. Uh, if you look at that big building in New York City with no windows, I mean, that is one
Mm.
of those hubs where they do that shit. And there are
Mm-hmm.
buildings like that all over in every major city that it might not have no windows, but it might be a fake building in a residential neighborhood. These taps collect our data and they send them off to be indexed and searched.
So
They
tell your
initially,
neighbor or every time you log in, give your friendly FBI agent a wave.
yep, and don't assume that they don't know everything that you do online. Okay, so it's not just the U.S. who has an appetite for backdoors, though. Those remains, yada, yada, yada. Across the EU, member states are working to legally require messaging apps to scan their citizens' private comms for suspected CSAM. Apple was going to voluntarily comply with this a while ago, and right before they pushed a massive update that would allow them to search everybody's iCloud accounts, whether they opt in or not, they got injuncted. And I think it was the EFF stopped it. But it doesn't mean that the technology is already out there. So, I mean, I'm sure they're just not telling us that they're using it at this point.
Easier to get
Uh,
forgiveness than permission.
exactly. Signal, the end-to-end messaging app, has been one of the most vocal critics of the encryption backdoors and cited by the U.S. breach at the U.S. ISPs by the Chinese as the reason why European proposals pose a serious cybersecurity threat. There's no way to build the backdoor that only good guys can use. Well
That's
said,
right. Yep.
Meredith Whitaker. Speaking of more advanced proposals for backdoors that have not come up, Kali should be regarded as a cautionary tale and not a success story. Hell yeah, I agree on that one. Let's see. And next we have. Let's go. The Krispy Kreme incident. Now, let me share that one because I think that one's pretty freaking funny, and at least in terms of the puns that are around it. So, Krispy Kreme donuts, for those of you who don't have one in your town, is like Dunkin' Donuts or any other donut shop. Uh, they had to file an 8K. You only have to file an 8K if you have a serious security incident that's considered to be material. What materiality is means different things to different people, but as defined in the bill that the SEC put out that mandates any publicly traded company to let them know within 4 days of a major security incident, a material incident is something that could affect the customer data, essentially the data of your customers, so names, social security numbers, credit card information, these kind of things definitely need to be reported ASAP as soon as you know. So there the puns on this one are great. Just gotta say. Donut slinger Krispy Kreme has admitted to an attack that's left many customers unable to order online. According to the mandatory 8K filed, the biz was notified unauthorized access to a portion of its IT systems. Security handled the action and sprinkled in support from leading cybersecurity experts, but the delays in orders were going to be hard to swallow for some. Expected costs of the incident, including loss of revenues and digital sales during recovery, yada, yada, yada. Money, lots of money. The pastry purveyors remain tight-lipped about the actual nature of the event, whether it was ransomware or not. They declined to comment. They are experiencing operational disruptions due to a cybersecurity incident is all they're willing to share publicly, yada, yada, yada. And the puns on that freaking like article, they're in quite the jam, you know. So
Their story has a
I, I
hole in it.
I do not believe that they had a ransomware accident. Okay, next.
No, hold on. So there's a interesting topic here because I'm looking this up, and it looks like this was recently passed in the last few months.
Yeah, the 8Ks. Like Delchai put together a thing that scraped the website where they need to do those filings for new stuff because they didn't have like an official RSS feed. So he built something that did it, and then they put an RSS feed out. So kind of undermined the whole point of what he had already built. But they make you, if you're like a publicly traded company, you have a very short window once you know that there's been a material security incident to let the SEC know, because they need to let your investors know, so your investors can then dump your stock, and then your stock can go back up a week later, so people can make money on that whole you had an accident.
It's interesting because we've been talking about something like this for decades, and now to finally see it, it's like, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's been a few months since the whole AK thing has been in effect. A lot of companies, especially CISOs, hate it. CISOs are
I'm
like,
sure.
because look, now it's their ass. So like, if you gotta go file an 8K and it's like due to something that was negligent on your team's part, you're now taking a lot more heat than if it was just an internal thing where you let like internal teams know and it got fixed and like you swept it under the rug. Like, remember when Uber got popped a while ago? Their freaking CISO paid the ransom out of pocket and didn't tell anybody, and then it came up later, and then they kicked his ass out, and he had to go deal with all of that. Like, we don't want that to happen. Like, CISOs have a lot of responsibility, and when it comes to this kind of shit, it just adds to that plate of more shit than they can handle. So a lot of
I
them
mean,
are,
it's
not a
holding people
popular thing.
accountable.
There's a difference, I think, between holding people accountable and just kind of looking for blood in the water, because this is just going to be utilized by people who are going to look for 8K filings and write pump and dump bots that will, like, okay, this company just had an 8K filing. Let me bet against them on stock market, and then when their stock falls, I'll make money. And then when it goes back up, I'll make money too, because I'm going to short it first and then take a long position later. So it's just it's just
that's a fair point.
I don't think it was well intentioned but poorly executed is probably a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Got to find the plug before these die. Just one sec. Next, the DOJ has indicted 14 North Korean hackers. They're throwing the book at them. These are people who have been stealing the identities of U.S. citizens, applying for and getting remote work jobs, working those jobs just long enough to get internal company documents that they want to steal, exfiltrate them, and then start to scam all over at another company is kind of how it goes. They actually do also make money from the money that they would get from the job. I don't know if the actual person who is doing the data exfiltration is the same person necessarily who is then even showing up every day to do remote work. But it seems like they would actually work some of these jobs for a while, long enough to gain the trust necessary to gain access to files that they shouldn't have from manufacturing sector and other critical industries, and then just quit abruptly and start all over.
Something insider threat.
Yeah. So they threw the book at these 14 North Koreans who did this. They also earned 88 million through this, and that's like not chump change. So go into it a little bit more. This indictment was handed down in Missouri federal court. Over 6 years, these 14 men earned 88 million through employment as IT workers in the U.S. So it's that's just the money they earned from the job, not the money that they got from exfiltrating freaking stuff from the employers. So pretty lucrative.
Are the employers going to have to fill out an SEC filing?
I bet they probably already have. An 8K, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else do we got here? So we go back. We got U.S. is taking action against another Chinese group that has been mass hacking firewalls. A double whammy after a prolonged action, indictments and sanctions against, I can't say that, Szechuan Silence, of its employees. Guan Tianfang, now wanted by the FBI for allegedly breaking into 81,000 Sophos firewalls around the world. That's an impressive amount for one person. That's botnet level need to fucking manage all of those. Like, you got to have like some pretty good skills if you have that many freaking firewalls compromised to even keep track of what you fopped.
Pour one out for the homies at Sophos.
So, speaking of Sophos, they dropped the details of the campaign. Some 23,000 or so of the firewalls were in the U.S., some protecting critical infrastructure, which is why the feds got involved, and they were allegedly stealing company data. Since firewalls are network edge devices, they can be exploited to then break into a network. The feds are rewarding up to 10 million for information about Tianfeng or Shenzhen silence. Another reminder of the close links between Chinese private entities and China-backed cyber attacks. And they got his wanted poster here.
Some little kids.
He does look pretty young, right? He's pretty baby-faced. Looks like he was born 94, so that's not super young. It's around Altkey's age, I think.
Mm.
So we have a stuff you might have missed section also. No face swaps or removal necessary. While you might want to invest in a mask or a scarf, your best bet for the most part is to avoid firms, stores, and services that rely on facial rec. So why do I need to change my face to avoid facial recognition is the question. And the answer is it depends. But avoiding places where it's employed is a pretty good first step. I am a big fan of the blinky light things, like hook up a couple IR LEDs to a hat, make it shine some bright LED lights on your face.
Oh, yeah.
Those are fun. Different cameras, though, will see right through that because they're not using IR. So now, apparently, our biometric data is freely available to anyone with an AI model and a camera. Well, we've known that with PIMI for a while, right? Like, I can take a picture of somebody, run it through PIMI, and if they have a picture of them online, it's going to find where that picture is and then tell me what website it's on. So we've also seen people at MIT build a Google Glass variant type thing that would automatically run every face it sees through the PIMI's API and then try to automatically gather the person's name and other relevant information and put it on a HUD, which is also a fucking walking privacy nightmare. This is what people were afraid of when the glass holes were walking around, and now it's a reality.
I actually had one, and then I returned it because it's just a silly little toy.
You'd think maybe I could just wear an N95, right? A scarf, some sunglasses. These AI models, they can freaking get you from your eyes, from pupillary distance, combined with your ears. Some of them don't even need to know exactly where your nose is, as long as they can get a center point. It's very scary. And some of them can use gait analysis, which is the way that you walk, and build a profile on you just on that, and be able to figure out where you are all across Manhattan. If, say, you've maybe shot the CEO, they can then track you by the way that you walk alone, not necessarily your face, which wouldn't be visible everywhere. Yeah, so it's pretty scary what's built out already that we don't hear about too often unless there's a major event like healthcare CEO getting shot in broad daylight. Where you saw they were able to track that person to a McDonald's in Pennsylvania, and they got on a bus at like Grand Central, and they are able to track where the person went and all the stops in between, which is pretty odd. It still took them like a day to find that bag full of Monopoly money, but just setting up that insanity as defense just a little bit ahead of time, I think.
Yeah, that's not premeditated.
No, they gave me the money and I did it. This is Monopoly money. Oh, is it? I didn't know. I don't know. This is my little shit take there, but there was a couple other things to cover. So the DOJ, we covered that. The firewalls, this motherfucker. What else we got? Oh, Yahoo's paranoids lose 25% of their staff. Yahoo has laid off 25% of its cybersecurity team that they called the paranoids over the past year. Honestly, I'm surprised Yahoo's even still in business. I don't think I visited that webpage other than when I'm trying to bypass I log into something and I need something that still has HTTP up just to like get to the captive portal. Like I'll go http://yahoo.com. Like that's my only time going to Yahoo anytime recently.
I was
My
gonna
brother used to
say,
work for them
oh
years
yeah,
ago when they were inked to me. Like yeah.
it's like, oh, Yahoo laid some people off. That brings them down to what, 6 people?
All 6 people who still work there. They still offer free email, which is really surprising that they still have that service available after all these years. It's got to be a really costly endeavor. SEC disclosures rules are a hot mess 1 year later. So this is what you wanted to talk about a little bit, Sledge.
Oh, what's the
So
say again?
the SEC rules. So this
Oh
is
yeah.
specifically talking about what you want to talk about. So the SEC disclosure rules baffle companies a year later. So if you're a publicly traded company and you aren't sharing enough detail with investors about cyber incidents, you need to be. So SEC about a year ago put out this thing, cyber disclosure rules appear to be failing to solve the transparency problems they were supposed to fix. Only 16% of the public 8K filings disclosing a cyber incident provided actual details about the material impact, which was the one thing that's actually supposed to be in those filings. So what a lot of these companies will do, they'll file the 8K like we saw Krispy Kreme did, but not put the details in that they're supposed to. And then they hope that will protect their stock. According to a report from BreachRx, like only 17% are doing it right. It shared exclusivity with Axios, showing 48% of the 8K filings provided any specifics at all about how they were even responding to it, where 52% shared only some vague boilerplate language about the incident. BreachRx reviewed 71 8K filings, and from 47 companies that filed last year, as well as 10K reports from 150 some odd companies, yada, yada, yada. It's pretty clear that this is not doing what it's supposed to have done. Companies also had to start disclosing details about their overall cybersecurity strategies in their annual reports. A lot of companies are being very extremely vague in these reports rather than being specific, because security through obscurity is still a very big thing in our industry. And the more people can know about the way you're defending, the more they can adapt their offense. So, I mean, I get why you'd not want to tell people, oh, yeah, this is the stack that we run. We run this SIEM tool. We run this EDR tool. This is our firewall. And this is how many analysts we have. And we have a 24/7 managed SOC, or we don't, kind of stuff could all be very useful to a threat actor who's looking to breach a company, might actually look at these annual reports first. So
That could be some good OSINT stuff too.
yeah, we should maybe work that into our flow when we get
Yeah.
tests from these big companies from now on. Corporate lawyers are also pushing back on sharing these details. And this means that companies have opted for limited interpretation of what material means. So, material is the big word here. What is a material incident? Well, if we got hacked, right? If it was one employee whose mailbox was compromised, is that material? It really depends on if that company employee had access to sensitive things in that mailbox that, if they got out, would have an impact on your stock. Who's going to make that determination? Good question. Probably the CISO.
So do they have to prove the damages? Like, hey, a bunch of data got exfilled, and use that as like a deliverable for filing?
They're supposed to give a lot more details than they are. Stuff like that probably should be in it, but they don't. They might not even know, honestly. Like, until they call in DFIR firms, which is going to be months after the actual incident, they'll have findings and a full report. Like between when that happens and when they have their answer to what happened, you have a lot of uncertainty, which could cause the stock price to tumble of a company, right? If everybody's waiting to hear if the crown jewels were exfiltrated, and that uncertainty drives stock price. So obviously SEC is involved for that reason. They definitely need to do a better job of clarifying what material means, because I think lawyers can have a field day with, well, was this a material incident or not? If you're going to actually go against a company who got hacked and then didn't report it, they could claim, at the time we didn't think it was material, so we didn't. Well, what is material? I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. They don't define it well. So yeah, that is the gist of that one.
Cool.
Most 10K filings describe company cyber risks and incident response and disclosure procedures in nearly identical generic terms. Why do you think that is? Because they don't want to tell you exactly what they're doing. Because if they do, you have more information that you can use against them.
So what is the difference between an 8K and a 10K?
So the 10K is the like what the company has done in terms of their cybersecurity program, and an 8K I think is if you've actually had an incident, the details you're supposed to disclose. But I could be wrong on that, and somebody should probably check me. And unfortunately, this is not Joe Rogan podcast, so I can't go and have Jamie go look into it.
I'm working on it.
Live. Termite is a ransomware gang that has been
hold on. I have the answer.
Give it to me. Give me the answer.
Form 8K covers special material events that occur between, well, that even raises more questions. Form 8K covers special material events that occur between 10K and 10Q filings.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Now I'm chewing, and now you gotta wait. So you take longer. Termite, this one really gnaws at me. So this is a new ransomware gang in town, and they're taking credit for the ransomware attack that hit Blue Yonder. That's another supply chain firm. They're using reworked source code from another leaked threat actor tool called Babook, and that ransomware source code was public like for a while now. They essentially took that source code, modified it, tweaked it, and are using it, targeting people indiscriminately. And they sputtered out an update on Thursday, one of the companies that got hacked by this, saying that their restoration was still in progress. The EU smart device rule. We talk about Internet of Shit a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the EU has a Cyber Resilience Act now in force, and it's requiring firms that are making products sold in the EU to meet certain cybersecurity requirements. UK has a similar law in effect already. This rule requires compliance with these rules that are going to be starting in 2027. Hopefully, this will lead to less shitty internet-connected ice trays with 0 days that will poke a hole in your firewall without asking. But who knows?
Hey, it's fun to play with.
So they have a direct link to it, and let's take a look at the TechCrunch article about it, because probably should have killed Teams. Okay, so good thing I'm sharing a tab and not my whole window. Rules for bolstering the security of connected devices has entered into force in the EU. The Cyber Resiliency Act, CRA, puts obligations on product makers to provide support services to consumers, such as updating their software to fix security vulnerabilities. Now, although the deadline for compliance with the main obligations of the law is 3 years out, meaning December of 2027, there are still, we got a CrowdStrong. A wild CrowdStrong has appeared. Welcome. We're talking Internet of Shit and this EU law that's supposed to address it.
Speaking of Internet of Shit, a CrowdStrong appears.
Hey, guess what? That's what happens, right? This is no surprises here. Perfect timing.
So it moves at the speed of government, this legislation, because it was proposed a little over 2 years ago, and it won't take effect until 2027, 3 years from now, even though it's now passed. The proliferation of connected devices has led to a lot of worrying over the risks of hacking. A lot of people will put out a device and only support it for 3 years. You buy that device when it's on sale 2 years later, and you've got a year of support. Year goes up. Are you going to buy a new router every year because your router is no longer supported? You see a lot of really cheap one-off devices that go to connect to the internet, like light bulbs. Who's patching their fucking light bulb? Has anybody here ever gone and put a firmware update on a light bulb? That's not me. And the only reason I did it was because I was putting a malicious firmware update on that light bulb so I could have it be a little backdoored light bulb for me. Right?
I try to keep all my stuff up to date because every now and then you get the cool new features or something.
They have internet-connected light bulbs that run on ESP8266 underlying it. And if you you get the right firmware, you can essentially flash a little netcat connection back to your computer every time the light bulb gets the internet, and then pivot through that light bulb once it's installed somewhere when you connected it to the Wi-Fi in a place. So like these are actual things hackers do because I know because I've done them. It's a little bit less complicated actually than taking over a printer, which uses a very similar methodology oftentimes, where you're going to get root on the device and then just put a freaking call out to your C2 server on it. The CRA applies to connected devices very broadly, which is good because that means products that connect directly or indirectly to another device or network. Meaning you can't be like, oh, well, our shitty device is exempted because we're going to use a LoRa gateway. So the LoRa gateway is the only thing that needs to be secured, not the actual communications to the devices, which is some shit they would try.
That just makes it more complicated.
Yeah, and when they're in compliance, they get to put a nice little CE check mark on their device to show that it is a device that's complying with this law. And regional consumers will then have less legwork when they're out buying stuff because the device has that mark. It at the very least means it's getting automatic updates, right? So they don't need to constantly keep it patched and like log into it and push firmware like you have to do with some internet connected devices.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody who's got like an internet connected, let's go with something important like access control system. Like if you go on Amazon and you buy something that you can use to unlock your front door with your fingerprint, and you also connect that to the internet so you can open your door with your phone, and then that thing becomes vulnerable. Nobody I know would, at least nobody I know who's not a hacker, is going to be aware that their thing has even been hacked, let alone then go out to the internet and pull down new firmware to update manually, or even know where the web interface is on some shit like that, right? That's not a common thing your everyday person is doing. Is I'm logging into my web interface on my doorknob to update the firmware, right? So this kind of shit is good.
I had to update the firmware on a bunch of my light switches the other night. I went to replace that one, and I realized in the app, oh, that's all out of date. They want an update. I was like, okay, boop.
And think about bringing Benjamin Franklin to 2024, trying to explain to him that you have to update light switches.
Yeah. You remember that bulb you made? Bro.
that was Edison.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean.
Tesla. But, no, Benjamin Franklin. That would be a wild ride.
Yeah. I mean, Franklin, Edison. Edison is one of those guys who just took credit for everybody else's work like Elon Musk does nowadays. And everybody thinks he was the inventor of all this shit when it was people working in his labs in New Jersey who actually found the fucking shit. And, anyway, he was a good businessman and a decent scientist, I would say. I liked Tesla, but he is more, I would argue, like a modern day hacker who does a lot of shit pro bono and ends up getting fucked in the end. So the block has said that this law is designed to rebalance responsibility for cybersecurity to the manufacturers, who need to ensure their products with digital elements meet the legal standards if they want to access that EU market, which is huge. Because a lot of same products that are getting sold in the EU are getting sold in the US, meaning this law might actually have a positive impact on our Internet of Shit devices. Or at least make those devices that are vulnerable even cheaper in the US because they now can't sell them over there. So maybe it could have the opposite effect. Who knows?
So do they ever define essential cybersecurity requirements? Is that defined anywhere in this? Or is it just some vague crap?
That sounds like legalese, man.
Talking back to 10K, I believe the term that they did not define well was material cybersecurity event. That's the one that needs to be better defined. What is a material event is kind of the question and what they're skirting around, and to go back to that.
I'm talking about the CRA, that second sentence there.
Ah, my bad.
Yeah, no, it says breaches of essential cybersecurity.
I mean, scroll back down.
Down?
Yeah. Right.
Nope.
That last penalties to meet
standards will fail.
Essential cybersecurity requirements.
Yeah, essential cybersecurity requirements is the third line down.
Let me just read it. Penalties for failing to meet the CRA standards will fall to member state level oversight bodies, which will be responsible for compliance checks. But the law states that breaches of essential cybersecurity requirements can risk fines of up to 2.5% of global annual turnover, or 15 million if greater. Breaches of other requirements risk fines of 2% or 10 million. Failure to respond properly to regulatory requests, 1%. So it's money. They're going to cost them money if they don't comply. It's going to cost them money to comply and cost them money if they don't comply. So you are good in that essential cybersecurity requirements. I don't know the answer to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Perplexity what the hell the answer to that is. So
it's probably so vague, kind of like most compliance regulations and stuff are these days.
And what's the name of the fucking bill again? The
CRA, I believe.
The CRA, per the CRA legislation, question mark. Wow, this is running slower than I do when I'm running outside. Okay. All right, so
Wait,
the EU.
Barry Allen?
I am the opposite of Barry Allen. You go in slow motion, that would be me. The EU Cyber Resiliency Act introduces, yada, 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 share the step instead. Risk-based approach. PDEs must be designated, developed, and produced to ensure an appropriate level of cybersecurity based on associated risks. Secure by default products should be made available with secure by default configurations. PDEs must protect the confidentiality and integrity, but not the availability of stored, transmitted, and processed data. Products should protect the availability of essential function and resist attempts to disrupt. Access control mechanisms must be implemented to avoid unauthorized access. Vulnerability management, so they should not have exploitable vulnerabilities. So that means not building your web interface on a new product with a 30-year-old version of jQuery. Data minimization, products should implement data minimization policies. Resiliency factors, user controls to securely and easily erase and remove data, and documentation. That's going to be a bitch for a lot of these cheap direct-to-market devices that get popped out all the time. The Shenzhen marketplace specials.
I like how it's not super stupid vague. They at least have some good pointers there.
But kind of super standard PDEs can undergo self-assessment, so it depends on what I, as the company, deem to be important and or critical and important products. Oh no, wait! Critical and important products must undergo third-party assessment. All right, that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That's cool.
Indeed, it is.
I wonder if that's why I've been getting more requests for doing IoT devices on interviews lately.
Maybe. Or maybe because, a lot of people get popped because of shitty designed IoT devices.
Mm-hmm.
That
good old internet of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun account on Twitter back.
It was awesome.
There we
go.
And
Swift Security, whatever that one is.
Oh, Swift on Security was great. InfoSec Taylor Swift. The guys who ran that were hilarious. The Patch Tuesday notes, Brian Krebs decided to do a roundup of all the latest patches you need to know from this month's Patch Tuesday. 70 security holes plugged in Windows, 1 0-day under active attack in common log file system, which can get you system level, aka root privileges on a vulnerable device, and CLFS is still popular for ransomware gangs. Rhode Island got hacked. Rhode Island, their RI Bridges system, which is the state's centralized benefit eligibility system for people on food stamps and supplemental nutrition access program, which is like for the, I think the, and the women incentives and women and children's incentives, WIC stuff, all that, like that system got popped. There was some communication with a threat actor, and they sent a screenshot of the compromised files to Deloitte. Deloitte being one of those very, very large firms that has their hands in fucking everything. which developed the system. So at least we know who's to blame for the shitty coding.
You mentioned a screenshot. Are you trying to share your screen?
No, he said that they shared via screenshots.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Can we just talk
there we
about
go.
it?
Now we're good.
Bastards?
Yep. So Reuters did confirm ransom was demanded. Yada yada yada. Rhode Island officials described this as extortion. Hackers threatened to release stolen information, and it's pretty much following the playbook. Breached data affects people on Snap, TANF, and Wick. Hackers gained access to the system through their online portal for obtaining social services earlier this month. Portal was written by Deloitte, and threat actors sent proof of the exploitation to the vendor Deloitte. They confirmed that there is a highly probable chance that the cybercriminal has already obtained files with PII. The representative from the governor's office was not available for comment. Anybody who has applied for or received benefits since 2016 is likely affected. And the state,
Rhode Island,
Rhode Island,
okay,
has directed Deloitte to shut down that system to remediate the threat. And for the time being, anybody applying for benefits has to do so on paper applications until the system is back up. Households believed to be affected are going to get a letter from the state, and that letter is going to notify them of the problem and explain the steps that are being taken to help protect their data and their bank accounts.
I'm going to roll my attribution dice and roll, jiggle. Oh, it was Peter Griffin.
It was Peter Griffin.
Nice.
I was going to think it was Paw Tucket Brewery. That's a pretty good one. And you can go.
Me. I can make my own attribution dice now.
Do you have the thing?
I have a laser
make me some.
Do that,
dude. You should make us some freaking Counter Surveil themed ones, and we can bring them to DEF CON swag.
Done. You got it. I'll see if I can't. Okay. I can't find myself some small dice and do that. Absolutely.
Badass.
Fantastic idea.
The state has details on how the programs affected the likely types of stolen data, including social security numbers and banking information. And it's all right before the holidays. So hopefully you're not in a bind and need to get food stamps real quick to feed your family on
oh boy,
New Year's Eve. Because you're going to be shit out of luck filling out a paper application and trying to get it processed.
Good old 1990.
And we do have the happy corner. I like that they have the happy corner. Remember we were mentioning Swift security.
Yeah.
Screams into bucket, and then that's what the SNS3 stands for.
That's good. That
is very good. First up, we have to go to extreme lengths to exit Vim. Alternately, you can yeet your computer into the nearest body of water. So what was this one? Let's see if it loads the web page any slower. It'll be loading it backwards. Mastodon. No wonder it's loading slowly. Okay. No, that's not how you exit Vim.
I mean, it does. It technically kind of is.
It works.
That would track.
That does track.
That would track.
That's one way to get out. It'd be funnier if Vim were still up on the screen after that.
That would be funny.
Put it back together and hope they saved it first.
Little :WQ. Then we go. Privacy buffs and iPhone users. Now you can automatically share photos with your friends, family members, or otherwise interested intelligence officers without also revealing your location. Since most phones these days embed your location into the data of your photos, this new simple setting will switch off auto location sharing.
Good.
We've all shared photos in group chats on Signal that have embedded location data without thinking about it, I'm sure, as well.
I thought they fixed that a long time ago, but I don't have an iPhone.
Most social media networks, like if you upload something, they're going to strip that kind of metadata out and then embed their own metadata.
Yep.
Which is going to be a link to where they saved that metadata in their system that they don't let everybody see.
Because I used to use that when I was doing OSINT, and then they changed it. Facebook changed it. And I was like, damn, that's that trick gone. Shame.
Yep. And our annual look at Santa's GDPR compliance, and it's an automatic fail again. He's making a list, checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is in contravention of Article 4 of the GDPR. That's good. I like that. I don't know who took the time to print that out, stick it to the wall, take a picture of it, but it does add that nice little authentic feel to it.
I can tell you that that's been around for a number of years.
Has it?
Yeah.
Probably since GDPR. Oh yeah, 2016.
The fuck's a bear cat? Oh,
Cybercats, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've had my picture in there with a cybercat. It's
dope.
It's fun. You take a picture with you and yourself and your cat, and they put it at the bottom.
That's cool.
Yep. My hair happened to have been like bleached blonde at the time that I took a picture with my cat. My friend's cat, actually. Okay.
One time my cat is not sitting up here messing up my notes.
That covers this week's cybersecurity stories. What do y'all want to talk about now that we have? Oh, a new Kali has dropped today. Apparently, 2024 4. Well, yeah. I mean, you'd think it would have dropped like around the eighth month of the year with that naming convention, with it being 1, 2, 3, and 4. But
they usually do it as like a Merry Christmas kind of thing. So go update. It's probably pretty cool.
I'm just gonna do a dist upgrade and hope for the best, and hope it doesn't break half my tools.
They're sporting 14 new tools, but let's see what they are.
I haven't actually looked.
Blood Yad.
Blood Yad.
Oh, Certi. That must be a spinoff of Certify. Oh, linked into username.
Ooh, that's freaking useful. All right, so Python 3.12 is now the default Python version. Hello, PipX. The end of i386 kernel and images. Farewell x86 images, but not goodbye to packages. Depreciations in SSH client, DSA keys. Reminder about using SSH1 if required. What's that mean, guys? Who wants to cover what that is? None of you know, do you?
Wait, I was reading something. Say that again.
What's it mean that they're depreciating this stuff here with the keys here? Depreciations in SSH client DSA keys. What's a DSA key, guys? No encryption nerds? Really?
No.
Sad. All right. So what happens for pen testing purposes, we're often going to use legacy features, things that have been depreciated from main branch. This one's
that's what you're talking about. Okay.
Took that shit out finally, because some legacy features are not even compiled into the client anymore. In this case, you need support for DSA keys, which are one of those types of keys that you can generate for your known host file. You'll need to resort to another client, SSH1, if you're going to need support for those ancient ass keys. In practicality, nobody should be using DSA keys anymore. The SSH client froze at 7.5 in March of 2017, which is the last one that supported that old ass DSA key and SSH v1 protocol. So if you are targeting very old SSH servers, you might have a need for that. Ideally, hopefully nobody on the internet is even running them, but maybe if you're on internal engagement, you'll fucking see it in somebody's environment, you know?
I can't say I've seen DSA offhand, but I've seen like the elliptic curve ones, which those are bad too. Usually all you see is RSA in those ones.
Yeah. We have Raspberry Pi imager customization support baked in now, which is nice. How many times have you formatted your D drive that's got 4 terabytes of data because you're trying to format a Raspberry Pi SD card and pick the wrong freaking drive letter? Well, no more. You can do it right in Kali now, and you can accidentally wipe your freaking boot sector instead. There, that'll be fun. How does it work? Yada, yada, yada. Nobody cares. GNOME 47. They're excited to announce the latest update to GNOME. GNOME 47 is now available. New support for accent colors, and you can choose your favorite color for window and shell widgets, giving you more control over the desktop's look and feel. Synchronizing this new setting with icon theme and legacy DTK window themes to ensure a more cohesive visual experience. Multiple variants of the icon theme to match new accent colors. They just spend a lot of money making it look pretty. I do like that it looks like what you expect a hacker operating system in a movie to look like, even though, it's actually functional.
If it doesn't say I'm in when I log in, I don't want any part of this. Crap.
I like the theme that makes the whole Kali system look like a Windows box. That one's always funny.
So we have Bloody AD, Active Directory Privilege Escalation Framework, submitted by Arzilla. CertI, asking for certificates to Active Directory certificate services, and Discover templates, submitted by Arzilla. This Arzilla person has submitted a lot of these freaking things that got incorporated. Chainsaw, hell yeah, I like Chainsaw. So Chainsaw, if you guys have never used this tool, if you're doing some trying to figure out what the hell happened on a Windows box that's been popped, you take all your Windows EVTX files that you get from going to the event viewer and then exporting them, and you take those files and you run them against this Chainsaw program, which is a Python script, and it runs really super fast through all of them, and it compares them to a YAR database. And you can pick which YAR database you want it to compare it against. Use the default one. They have a lot of command line options, different types of events you want to search for. So say you want to look for login events or whatever. It rapidly rips through your Windows logs. It's a cool program. I've used it a lot of times
Nice.
when I'm doing
Now,
DFI
I
shit.
have not, but your boy's real interested in this.
Yeah, that sounds really useful.
Yeah, it's a good way to figure out what happened, essentially, when a box is compromised without having to manually dig through shit tons of logs. It also will let you export the stuff to a CSV file that you can then go through later. I like that tool a lot. And they actually made a change to it after I did a request on their GitHub, because I had gone to run it and one of their updates had incorporated some sample files, and the sample files I didn't realize were in the same folder that I was putting my EVTX files, and it started adding the sample shit into my actual findings, and then I was digging for shit that didn't exist and was very embarrassed to then have to admit later that it was because I stupidly included the folder that had the sample files in, as I was just using the exact command line syntax that they have without then going through it myself and changing folder structure, which, it's a stupid mistake, but we all make stupid mistakes. It's being able to own them, Find domain, fastest and most complete solution for domain recognition, also by Arzilla. Hexwalk, a hex editor. I'm surprised they didn't already have a hex editor built in.
They do. I just don't remember what it's called.
LinkedIn to username generates username lists for companies on LinkedIn. Not bad. I haven't used that yet, but it looks very interesting. MS SQL Pawner. We're going to pawn it at the pawn shop. Interact and pawn SQL server, MS SQL servers. I imagine this is probably a more specialized version of SQL maps for just MS SQL. I haven't used this tool. Don't know that much about it. OpenSSH S1. So this is the old version of SSH. They are including, if you want to use that instead of the new one that's got all the latest and greatest security features. I like that change, because rather than staying on version 7.5, which is from 2017, so that you can have the reverse compatibility, now you have two different versions that you can use. Good for them.
That's cool.
Proximoth is a control frame attack vulnerability detection tool submitted by Technical User X. And Python pipx executes binaries from Python packages in isolated environments. Sarah is a Router OS security inspector. I've never come across Router OS running on anything, so I don't know how often that's going to be something you'll use, but it's cool that it's in there, I guess. And Web Cache Vuln Scanner. So Web Cache vulnerabilities are huge, and rarely do people who I see who do web app pen testing ever capitalize on using them for exploitation. There's a lot of cool shit you can do with caching and poisoning attacks, where if you're the first one to hit a resource for the first time, you can write shit essentially to the web server that shouldn't be there. And then when somebody else goes there, that's what they're going to read. So that's cool, and I like that that's there. An advanced cross-site request, CSRF, cross-site request forgery, audit and exploitation toolkit. We need to start agreeing on common freaking standards for what we're going to call it. Is it XSRF or CSRF? Is it cross-site scripting going to be XSS, or are we going to keep confusing it with cascading style sheets, which is CSS?
Yeah, even in their description, they have X and C. Well, what's the difference between C and X because they have the slash?
Cross. It's like cross with Jesus on the cross, or cross with an X to represent Jesus on the cross. Same fucking thing. And ZenMap, they finally gave the script kiddies a GUI for Nmap, that the one you get when you install it on Windows.
Oh, you can't just.
Does that mean
people don't know how to just apt install it anymore?
Well, I don't think I've ever had ZenMap specifically on a Kali box. I usually just use the Nmap command line syntax. On my Windows box, when I install Nmap, by default it's going to have ZenMap. But on Kali, I don't think I've ever seen it there. I would usually just use that pretty cool tool called Legion. And Legion, I think, might have a new name, but Legion does the same thing pretty much. It runs the Nmap scan, and then it breaks it into like 7 parts. And based on what it finds, it then will launch other tools, which is kind of neat as well. But I often had the issue where it would crash middle of a fucking scan, and then when you bring it back up, all your fucking data's gone. So if they add some safe state management into that tool, it would be really appreciated. If anybody listens to this, who gives a fuck? And Kali NetHunter updates. The Kali NetHunter app has been updated, and they've introduced Mana Toolkit as a replacement for Wi-Fi Pumpkin 3. After years of silence regarding Android restrictions, Yes, I'm Zev's research has solved the Android IP rules mystery, and he added Wi-Fi Pumpkin 3, which allows you to create fake access points with working internet and even on a mobile network, which is badass. I might actually have to put this back on one of my phones now. We have a quick demo of Wi-Fi Pumpkin 3 in action if you want to see the results. Hell yeah, I want to see the results. Show me them results. Show it to me.
I would not be able to take that charge off of your
Just shut up. Just shut up.
What?
You must be really proud of yourself
That
sitting
is
there
Veronica.
behind a little phone
That
getting
is
paid
not-
a couple dollars,
Veronica.
being a service
Mama,
person.
I don't know how Veronica got there.
now?
No, that's just the way that stupid fucking social network works. When you click it,
Damn
it goes to shit on your stuff instead of what you actually click, because they like to get clicks. Let's go back and try that one more
It
time.
started to play.
It did, and then it went into a Veronica video. I do like Veronica. She's got some balls. Not like Autumn though. And where are we going? I lost where the
Hunter,
fudge I
wherever
was.
it went. New tools.
Yeah. New tools in Kali. And we went down, there was NetHunter.
Yeah.
And then they were like, there's a quick demo, and I clicked that, and the quick demo was a YouTube short. And it started to play, and then it disappeared. Let's try it
Don't
again.
click anything.
We clicked start.
I like some good ASCII art.
It's running host APD, it seems. Okay, now he's going to go look on another phone, and he's going to go and look at the Wi-Fi networks. All safe, yes. Free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi. There we go.
Yeah.
Neat.
Oh, look, you can put credentials into the free Wi-Fi. So maybe if you
Name it something.
toss a company logo at the top of that page,
Uh-huh.
when you're doing an assessment, and just leave it running.
Yeah.
Or, start gathering credentials just by being on site.
That's kind of partly how the evil twin attack works.
This
Yeah,
big
evil maid, evil twin.
big pineapple field.
It does. It has a nice pineapple feel to it.
Here.
You can put the pineapple firmware on a lot of old routers now too, thanks to that project that guy's been maintaining.
Altki and I have learned this very, very recently. Fun fact.
Did you learn that it doesn't have the antenna firmware for the default onboard antennas?
Why, yes, we bricked one. I'm going back and forth with a
Hey.
guy on eBay about this right now. It's great.
How can you sell a device where the onboard antennas don't work and the purpose of the device is to do Wi-Fi hacking?
That's
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Did you go and play
good.
around with Mod Probe and try and load the firmware for the onboard antenna and then watch your device get bricked?
No, I'm not sure what Alki did, but we ended up sending it back to him, and he's going back and forth with me about it now. Fun fact. It's
Yeah, you could
not
alternately
everybody on eBay's cool. Whatever.
Yeah, you could alternately go pick up a cheap Wi-Fi antenna that's compatible.
Yeah,
I think all the ones on the Atheros chipset and a lot of the ones on the RT Realtek chipset, like the 2800 and below, tend to have native monitor and master mode enabled with the default drivers that are going to be on there.
Panda Wireless.
Panda's good too. Remember back in the day when we all used Orinoco cards for everything? It's kind of like that. You got to have the right card to do the shit.
I remember when there was only like
I've still got
one
my old
alpha
alphas.
that supported packet injection, and it was always sold out.
I've still got my old alphas. Yep, absolutely, 1000%.
It's the one with the gray base and the
Yep.
big.
It's in the hack back in the other room. Yep, absolutely.
They don't no longer sell the Wi-Fi Coconut, which has I think like 14 RT 2800 antennas baked into it, which can actually be individually addressed if you're not using the firmware that they give you for it, which means you hook that shit up to a little open WRT router that you've then put their Hack 5 firmware on top of it. It will now have access to 14 individual antennas to do its attacks, which is what I was doing with a little yellow banana colored, what's it called? GLINet, the cheapest travel router you can get on Amazon for $13, with that firmware flashed on it and able to launch attacks, put it in master and monitor mode, like put one of the antennas in it and just let the rest do their other shit, which was kind of cool. Yeah, so they really do lower the barrier to entry when it comes to doing Wi-Fi attacks with these devices like the Pineapple, right? I like that NetHunter now has an attack that'll run on board without the need to have a dongle and then have another freaking antenna attached to your phone, which certainly makes it a lot easier to use, because for the longest time, it was such a fucking bitch to make that work right if you did not have a little splitter Y dongle at the bottom and another antenna. It was also going to drain your battery faster than you'd have anybody connect to your network. So good on them for fixing that. And let's see them do it with an RTL SDR next, because a lot of the phones have that shit enabled. They already have like an FM radio, or just disabled in firmware. So it'd be cool if somebody started patching that into a Kali release, so you could get that RTL functionality of listening to like SDR stuff, and then maybe use Multimon NG to decode some POGSAG right on your phone.
That would be cool.
Awesome, right? Yeah, we got to get like a Sammy Kamkar or a Michael Osman to do that kind of shit, who know the radio stuff well enough.
There we go.
What else do we have today? CrowdStrong. How was your cruise and being offline for a week? Did you touch any grass?
I did, in fact, touch grass. I touched a lot more sand. It was nice. Not really having to think or worry about or do the things. I'm still catching up. 3 weeks later, it will take me another couple of weeks to get finally caught up. But, Christmas is coming, and with any luck, Christmas will do Christmas things, and it will be fine. But no, enjoyed my cruise immensely. Went down to the Bahamas. Went to Jamaica and Labadee, Haiti. Walked around in this shirt and a kilt, and I'll tell you, looking like me, 6'2" in a kilt and something like this, you get a lot. You get noticed a whole lot, man. Everybody wanted to be my friend. And I'm sure, I'm positive I could have gotten into a lot of the best kind of trouble had I had the time to hang out. I also carry around a walking stick when I go places like that. Looks like an axe, quite standoutish, which both good and bad depending on how you look at things. But I went
With
for
the haircut, they probably thought you were a Viking.
They called me Scotsman, actually.
Even better.
Yeah, called me Scotsman. And so I had half of the time I had a big old axe strapped to my back, and I'm sitting in a kilt, and because it's hot as hell down there in November, like 85 some odd degrees. It was
Let the boys breathe.
I mean, why not? It's that or die. So yeah, no, it was a good time. Thanks for asking.
Well, thanks for answering.
Did you guys talk about the have we made jokes about the Krispy Kreme hack yet?
They were full of holes.
But if you've they were.
If you want to sprinkle some more on, go for it.
Oh no, I'm sure. I'm positive you guys have already made every joke I could conceive. Something about I'm sure that will be very quickly. Yeah, I was going to say something about very, very quickly resolved because law enforcement needs their donuts.
Oh, there you go.
I like the summary that Zach put on his. It says, Donut Giant Krispy Kreme was forced this week to fill its security holes after finding itself in a jam following a cyber attack. The company said some online orders were disrupted by cowardly custards. At least it was a grand time for headline writers and pun enthusiasts. I honestly do not believe it.
Oh my
by
God.
the BBC. Yes, very well done.
I both love and hate it. I do.
You gotta love and hate it.
I thought Altkey was gonna take that one on.
Yeah, that's she's not here with us tonight, but yeah.
And she's dealing with shit.
Yep.
Real life sometimes gets in the way of fun. So
you can't just pseudo your way through everything.
No.
Nope, you cannot. I would pseudo my way through life if I could, and just give myself admin.
Speaking of giving admin, I need to give you that information to that website we bought last week.
Yes, you do. I'm gonna start tossing some shit up on there.
So hang on. There's a life lesson here. If you pseudo sue your way through life, you might end up fucking something up. Kind of like in Linux.
I do not believe it.
Shut the fuck up, Leo.
Remember when Kali ran everything as root? Those were the good days. Back when Backtrack was around, and then the first couple of releases of Kali, everything was ran as root.
T-shirt.
I missed Backtrack so much.
Backtrack was skid-tastic. I loved Backtrack.
It was
always a bitch trying to get the Airmon and G and stuff to work for me. But once you got it running, it was just mwah.
Airmon NG and the whole Aircrack suite would have some issues with, I think, some of the dependencies on some of the versions of Backtrack. Because some of the other tools use different versions of whatever, and this one broke. You update one tool, that one works, and then the other tool doesn't work. It's like,
Yeah.
There should have been a contest to get a working copy of Backtrack with all the tools actually working that are supposed to come pre-installed with it. That would have been a fun experiment.
Me and a buddy had a competition to see who could get GNU Radio compiled from source first, because it takes almost 2 days.
There are distributions that are built just around GNU Radio and GNU Radio Companion for people who like messing around with SDR, because it's such a bitch to compile it from source. I don't know if they've ever, if they started doing deb packages or even Yum or anything for it yet, but I do remember what a bitch it was to get up and running, let alone to use GNU Radio. If you're trying to freaking build something out in GRC, and you have to put all your little components up and then wire what's going to do what. It's kind of like building a freaking Visio diagram of what you want the damn thing to do, and you get one thing wrong and nothing works.
It's I have a background in building radios. I took Mike Osmond's class, and I'm sitting here just like.
Wait, you took Mike's class?
He has a thing on YouTube.
Oh, free one?
Yeah, free one. On how to program and use GNU Radio.
Speaking of Osmond type people, Kingpin, Grand, is giving a AMA soon. I don't think today, but coming up on Instagram, I believe he's doing it. Joe Grand is one of the members, I believe, of maybe CDC from back in the day, or was it one of the other big prolific hacking groups? I can't remember. He was probably a member of a couple of them. But
yeah, you hear his name a lot.
Joe knows his shit. He popped a crypto wallet that required a lot of research to figure out there was a vulnerability back when it was initially encoded. And like he did a lot of research to figure that one out, and that was a really cool write-up he did. He does hardware hacking classes out in Portland. When I lived there, I kept trying to go to one, but they were closed due to freaking COVID. I kept nagging him, I'm like, can we just meet for coffee? He's like, no, I have somebody who's immune compromised. I really want to hang out with Joe Grand, though. It'll happen someday. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, I've had a beer with him before. He is a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Imagine you get like him, Michael Osman, and Sammy Kamkar in a room together, and what evil shit they would build. I think it'd be fun. You have the good FET, the bad FET, and now you're going to have the super duper FET. And
the satellite FET.
The sat FET. I found it really cool that the hardware that's in a Nintendo could be used for satellite hacking, since they have such old shit in those satellites. That was kind of cool when it wasn't Jimmy. Who was it? I forgot the freaking guy who made the video game speedrunning shit with the keystrokes that we had on. I forgot his name. Great guy.
Wasn't it like Zach or something?
It was like Zach or something.
Old Taskbot. Yeah.
Yeah. The bot. Yeah. That was cool shit. It looked like Robbie. Episode in subscription. Click here to watch that episode. We don't do that because we're live.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below.
And buy our shitty VPN products we're hawking this week, where we get 30% of the revenue from it. No.
And new merch coming soon.
And we're totally not sponsored by Russia.
You're not?
No, I was making a joke about all those YouTubers who got. I totally didn't realize they were taking Russian money. That was funny too. Like Lauren Chen, all of those. What else do we have? Is there anything else to cover today? Anything fun? Anything we want to talk about?
Just a busy ass week on my end.
Yep.
Same. So, Sledge, why don't you and I get back to fucking work and let's end the cast.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Peace and chicken grease. And the outro is going to be the
Crypto dreams and data streams. Listen close, it's closer than it seems. Break the chains, let knowledge spree. Decrypt the lies, set information free. Sneaky tracks the blockchain's veins. Knows the player's change and gains. Rallies hard against the status quo. Spreads anarchy with every blow. Havoc, masters breach and defend. Purple team tactics beginning to end. Builds C2, then unleashes hell. Stealthy ops, no trace, no tell. All key adapts, no challenge too tall. Overcomes the odds, conquers it all. Nothing she can't handle, no firewall too tough. Coding or cracking, she's always enough. Counter surveil in my ear. Security we engineer. Learn the truth, don't disappear. Counter surveil, we're right here. Crowd strong sees it all, blocks every attack. Blue team fortress got everyone's back. Protects the field where we love to play. Ensures we'll hack another day. Sledge tears through with red team might. Hammer systems in the dead of night. Popping shells left and right. Never backing down from the fight. Delphi's fortress, no breach, no slack. Takes no shit, defense is stacked. Runs the MSSP, a one-man crew. Goth DJ vibes with a comic view. Hackers with disabilities leading DEF CON. Blue team beast turning threats to gone. Counter surveil in my ear. Security we engineer. Learn the truth, don't disappear. Counter surveil, we're right here. Crypto dreams and data streams. Listen close, it's closer than it seems. Fix the Tough laws, clear out the fog. Protect the world, unleash the logs. Havoc breaches, defends the core. Sledge swings hard, systems hit the floor. Sneaky tracks, unmasking every scheme. Alt key rises, conquering the dream. Crowd strong shields, unwavering might. Delshi stands tall, relentless fight. Counters surveil, the hacker's creed. Together we rise, fulfilling the need.
And the stream's now ending. Goodbye, folks.
Yeehaw.
Goodbye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.